One of the new things in the mod tools that is a little more exotic and for advanced modders are something that we ended up calling StartupPrefabs. What you can use this for is for having some logic run at scene load basically, and scene unload for that matter. And you can also have stuff running in the background of the game. So let's take a look at how that works. And for one extra comment here, originally you could use some methods in umod to execute code on mod loaded and on mod unloaded, but that doesn't work anymore in the same way. So that's also one of the reasons I had to do this, so we can still get the same kind of result. But again, this is for more advanced modders, so if you're just making fireworks in general, this might not be relevant for you. But let's take a look. So a startup prefab starts with a definition, and we go in here and fireworks MANIA definitions and create a startup prefab definition. We can call it my startup definition. I don't know, maybe that's a bad name. Let's say my test startup prefab definition. You can call it whatever you want. And what that requires is a prefab and a sort order. And now that we are here, let's talk about that. So what will happen here is that once the game loads and all the mods have been loaded, while loading the mods, the game collects all these prefabs that need to be started, and then it will instantiate one of each of the ones of these one instance of this prefab that you put in here and place it in the game. The sort order is for loading, instantiating these objects in that order. So they will start from the lower number to the higher number. So the one with, if every prefab have sort order 0, they will just be instantiated in a random order. And for most people that's fine, but some mods require to load later or before others, so you can kind of use this sort order to fix that problem. So let's go back here and let's create our prefab. No, we don't do it like that, because a starter prefab don't have any visuals, or well, it can have, but it doesn't make sense because you're not in control of where it's being instantiated. It's mainly for code execution. So we will just create a new, not an empty, let's say my test startup, and then let's go to prefab, something like that. And on this, let's zero it out, even though it doesn't matter. And then let's actually add some script to it, because that's what will typically happen. So let's add a my startup script. You should name it something that makes sense. So we have the script here, we have this here, we drag over the script, and let's just tie this together, like going into the definition. Oh, sorry, we need to create the prefab. So let's create the prefab. Let's go into the definitions. Let's go into my start definition and drag over this test one. So now this is connected. It have sort order 0, doesn't matter in this case. And we have our prefab here. We can delete this one. And now we have this prefab here where we have our startup script. So now this will be loaded in game once at startup. But let's add some code to the script so we can actually see it being loaded. And this script is just a normal modder behavior, so you can use all the logic you used to use. So you can say like log, debug log, and then you can say my script ran, something like that. Doesn't really matter. And the update, we could also put something in there just for, you get the point. We don't want to do that, but you can have something in update. You can also have a method that is triggered by some interval, like you can use this. Let's try and do that just for fun. what to say? Timed method. It doesn't matter. We just do that, and then we can in here we can say we can just do like this. It's just for show. Then we can say invoke repeating, and we can invoke this method, and we can invoke it after let's say 3 seconds, and we can repeat invoke it after let's say 5 seconds. So now when this is loaded, it will write out my script ran, and then it will start out this execution in the time execution of this method that run with a couple of seconds in between. Be aware with what stuff you're doing this, because it's actually in the game all the time, so you can't do crazy stuff that makes the game run slow and all that. So people will uninstall your mod if you do that, so yeah, don't do that. But it's very powerful. For instance, I created a sample which I should have shown now, but I deleted it, so I can't. But I basically found all the lights in the map, changed the intensity and the color of it randomly every 3 seconds, and that gave this disco effect. So yeah, so that's one thing you can do. Maybe not so practical, but that's what you can do. So we have the script here. Let's go back into the mod. It compiles the script, and let's build our mod. Yeah, that's fine. It was just asking me to save the sample scene. I just have this scene in here to have my prefabs in so I can see them. It doesn't actually use anything of that for the actual mod. So now we go into the game. Of course, I loading the game in Unity here. You will just be going into the normal game and refresh the game or restart the map to load your mod. But I do it this way because then I can also show you where the mod is instantiated, where the prefab is instantiated, if that's relevant or somebody needs to know. At least that's how it works right now. And now we just wait on it loading. So, okay. So let's, first of all, I can see the lockdown here, but we also have this new console thing. So we can actually do something like this. We can see by hitting this little button next to the 1 on the keyboard, we get this new console in here. And you can see that we have loaded my mod here, and you can see I'm instantiating this my test startup prefab from this mod, sort order 0. And then my script ran, that was the startup method. And then you can see here every 5 seconds, we have this type method executing. So actually pretty much as expected. What a lucky shot. And over here you can see my mod manager, and under that we install this my test startup prefab. So this is your prefab installed or instantiated in the game, just like that. With great responsibility comes great power, I was about to say, but that's the other way around. But anyway, use it carefully. You can use it for a lot of stuff. You can also do a lot of damage in the game. So yeah, use it wisely. See you. Bye.